Hey everybody, welcome. April, you're already here. How are you? Y'all, I'm still setting up. Give me 1 second. We're gonna get right into this. Let me just go change my shirt. All right, April. Y'all, I'm excited for this chat today. Um, this is a topic that I'm really interested in, which is crystals. And I'm just excited to share my experience with them because I've read about them for years, I've experienced them, and it's one of those things that's very, I think, misunderstood. I'm clearing my space right now. I like to do that whenever I talk about these discussions because I want to get the energy just right. So I'm burning some white sage incense. Who else is with me right now? I see April. Who else do I have? I'm rushing a little bit today, so I am still setting my space up. So I have my singing bowl. I'm going to go on ahead and clear the space with some sound alchemy. Yeah. All right. There are two other things I want to get real quick. I want to get a candle and I want to get my tuning fork. So I will be right back. All right. It looks like we have just two people today. We will get started, but if y'all can alert anybody else in the group, I would love to have more people join because I really want to share this discussion. I think this is a really big one, crystals. How's everybody doing so far? How's everybody's day going so far? Mine is just getting started. Y'all know witches don't sleep according to Mother Kendra, Pretty Boss. So, I was out. Okay, I see you, April. I was out. I was actually at work all day yesterday, and on my break, I went to Marshall's just to look around because I know it's Halloween coming up, and I figured they'd have some good like items. You know, the skulls are popular, especially among us spiritual people, aka witches. But the skulls are popular for head work, and there are other items that are available. So I went to see if they had anything, and another item I have to get. Y'all, I'm all over the place. So I purchased this little item, and this is a good tip for y'all. Hey, whoever joined, please let us know who you are. Crystal sphere, okay? Isn't that beautiful? Now, the label says that this is onyx and it's made in Pakistan. I don't believe this is onyx. I need to do my research because it looks more like an agate to me. Onyx is typically black or some other color similar. But it's just so beautiful. I think the value is amazing. So I'm really excited about that. Don't know exactly how I'll use it yet. But yo, Marshalls has the crystals on the low. Typically they have selenite, which is what this is. It's a very high vibration crystal. They have a few other things, but you can find crystals so many places now, which is really cool. You know, typically you go to a new age metaphysical store or whatever to find them, but they're just becoming so popular. You can find them at Marshalls now and good ones too. Hey Tiffany, welcome. So, yeah, I do want to talk about crystals today. If there's anything y'all would like to discuss first, please let me know. I have my tarot cards here, so if we need to do some readings, we can do that. Yes, April, let us know if you find anything there. Any crystals. As usual, y'all know I don't advocate just reckless like purchasing and spending and consumerism, but good morning. Okay. Hey, Tiffany Wamsley, welcome. Um, my girls are here, y'all. It's gonna be a good show. I don't recommend just unconscious spending, but you know, if it's with a purpose, by all means, you know, get a good deal. I do feel a little bit, and I'm trying to make myself not do this, but I feel a little bit of guilt when I purchase crystals because I have so many of them. And it's just like, all right, this is a great entry point. Y'all, with any interest, crystals or otherwise, like you want to check yourself because we live in a consumer culture and materialistic culture where we're just obsessed with spending and having physical items. That is not the point of working with crystals. If you are doing that, you are a collector. And you know, I have to give credit to one of my YouTube friends, Onyx Moon, because he's made this point before. So, I want to give credit. But you are a collector. You're not a worker, you know? And it doesn't, size doesn't matter. It's not whoever has the most wins. That's not how this thing works. Actually, whoever has the least, I would say, wins because if you can only work with so many at one time to truly get to know them, especially if you're a beginner. So it's like just like the tarot decks that people buy, you know, they start out and they have 10 decks. It's like you definitely don't need 10 decks. If you're a novice, you'd be better off doing 10 things with one deck than having 10 decks that you do one thing with, or not even one thing. So, when starting with crystals, it's very enticing to buy a ton of different ones because, they all have different properties and they're beautiful and blah, 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 but it's totally unnecessary. Get three crystals, get your basic ones, but just experiment with them. Like the more you work with them, the more they'll work with you and the more you'll see a benefit. So, y'all, I should have done an outline for this, but I'm really kind of winging it. Should I have many, but prefer one? Yeah, Tiffany, and let us know how you work with them because that's really important. I do have a lot, um, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. Yeah, gifted too. So that's really cool. And y'all, crystals do come to you. April, we will talk about that. Because we're gonna talk about what crystals are. But yeah, they will come to you. So if they're gifted, that's totally cool. They come into your life. That's actually how I started working with them. They came into my life, and that started the whole journey. But you may find. Yeah, exactly. Tiffany Wamsley. That's how you work with them. Meditation, chakra balancing. There are other things. But you may find that they do come to you, and that's fine if that's the case. Like me, I have a ton. Yeah, all right. Y'all are just all over the place, which is cool. Y'all are excited about this discussion. But you may feel a calling to be a crystal healer or do some work with crystals, and I think that's why I have so many around me. I mean, I was slightly obsessed and did purchase a lot, but if you find yourself with a lot, it's okay because you can always give them to other people and share that crystal love and education. So if you have a lot, just give them away. If you have some that you're not using, go ahead and give them away. If you have some you're not using, make a point to use them. But just collecting crystals, y'all, they're such powerful tools. It's like, why do that to them? All right, so let's talk about how I started with crystals. Years ago, I used to read tarot cards with a friend who, now looking back, she was kind of a mentor. And she mentioned, yeah, giving them away is a good thing, Tiffany. If you give them away, that's because they want to be given away, so it's all good. She mentioned crystals because I mentioned how I was reading about crystals and was interested in them, and she was telling me that they were programmable, and I thought that was so interesting that she said that. I'm like, programmable, what do you mean? But that started a curiosity. So I knew that you could charge them to do different things from my research, and you could basically program them with intentions. And this was years ago, y'all, probably like 2009 or 10-ish. And I didn't really get into them that much back then. I just had a like brief introduction. So I did use them. I bought two pendulums. I bought a Unikite, which Tiffany Haley bought recently, and I bought an amethyst because I bought them for the spiritual properties. The amethyst was for psychic development, intuition, spiritual development, all that stuff, psychic abilities. And I bought the Unikite for healing. So I was a novice. I didn't know much about it. But I did use the crystals with my readings. I did notice my readings seemed to be a bit more focused when I had the pendulums. And also, I would use the pendulums to select cards, and it just seemed to be like super on point. So I noticed that back then, but I didn't know anything else about crystals. And it was just really like interesting but basic. So I used them for a brief period, then I moved on to other things. Y'all, I was exploring so many different spiritual things back in the day. So when I moved here to DC, I met a spiritual friend and he sort of ignited this spiritual journey that I've been on for a while. And one of the first things that happened when I started dealing with him was I found this ring. And y'all, I didn't pull my pendulum, but I actually do have that amethyst pendulum. Oh, it's in a project that I'm doing. I do have that pendulum that I started my crystal journey with, like the very first pendulum I bought. But this ring I found at a consignment store. I had a store credit for $6, and I had to find something in the store to buy, and I found this ring. And this is after, like, the day after a woman told me that I should work with crystals. It seemed so random. So I bought it, but the wrapping was not really nice on it. You see how beautiful this wrapping is? This is wrapped in silver, by the way. So I purchased it. I think the value is way more than $6 personally, you know. So that was what stood out to me. So I was like, yeah, I'll buy this ring. Um, and I knew that I had to get it rewrapped. It was wrapped in copper at the time, and the wrapping was very loose. So I got it wrapped, and I'm sorry, I was looking for a store, and turns out this place that I had been visiting for like a week was right across the street from a crystal store. It was a bead and crystal store. And I asked the owner of the shop that I was in, I was like, I need to find a crystal store. She was like, there's one right across the street. I was like, what? She was like, yeah, there's one right across the street, literally across the street. I was like, how could I have visited the store for like a week and not seen that was there? So it's interesting how this showed up in my life. I needed to do something for it immediately, and then the store that I needed to do at was like directly across the street from the place I've been visiting. So it's just really weird how that happens. And then not much later, I was at another thrift store and I was looking for some items, ended up sifting through a box of stuff that was not shelved, a box of stuff that was not shelved. And there was a bowl, because at this point I was really interested in crystals. There was a bowl of about 8 crystals. They were like egg-shaped crystals that were not put out on display. I asked the owner, I was like, are these for sale? She was like, yeah. I said, how much are, she was like, they're not shelved yet, but they will be for sale. I said, how much are these? I'd like to buy them. She was like, oh, for you, just like $2. It's like, what? She said, yeah, $2. Y'all, this was a bowl full of large size crystals, 8 of them. I would say it would be at least worth at least $50, probably more. I had a rose quartz in there, aventurine, um, just several like really nice crystals. So I was like, okay, thank you. So those just basically showed up in my life, and I was like, okay, these things want to work with me. So that was the start of my crystal journey. Unfortunately, you all, there's so much bad information about crystals out there. So, and what people claim that they can do seems so like miraculous. And it just, for me, it was hard reconciling that because it's like, oh, first of all, they all say, they can help with your psychic development, blah, blah, blah. So a lot of the characteristics are the same, which is interesting to me. And then they claim that they can do all these things physical and spiritual, so they can heal, like high blood pressure or different things like that. And then also, they have the spiritual quality. So that's always intrigued me, but I'm like, how does it actually work? Um, if anybody else has wondered these things, let me know and let me know your experiences in the comments. So, um, finding good information is a really difficult thing with the crystals because it's just like astrology. There's so much bad information out there. But when you study what crystals are, you gain a much bigger respect. So let's talk about that. Yo, crystals. I don't know. I had to move past a very limiting belief and personal issues when it came to working with crystals because a lot of people would say these are living beings. And to me, I come from a scientific background. Oh, cool, Tiffany. She's posting stuff in the group, so check that out. Before having a lot of experience in the spiritual realm, I had a scientific background. My family and just my upbringing is very scientific. So it's like, no, this is not living. Like it doesn't reproduce, although it does, doesn't breathe, um, doesn't, have all these other qualities we associate with living things. Um, so like I was like, this isn't living. And then people would say, you should talk to them, you should treat them like people, and they have a mind of their own. I'm just like, how is that possible? But what this is it is a consciousness, and when you get more to the shamanistic perspective of things, um, which is more spiritual, shamans believe that everything had a spirit. Also, that line between fantasy and reality, which I'm learning is not necessarily real. They didn't have that. So it's like this is from nature. This is an element. This is the element of earth. Um, so this is a consciousness. It has a spirit and should be treated as such. Just like any herbs that you work with, they have a spirit and they're a consciousness that they share. Um, so they all have their own personalities and things, but there's an overall spirit, a deva, a consciousness for each item. So, there's a selenite consciousness, there's a citrine consciousness, there's a consciousness for each type of crystal, and then there's the whole kingdom has a consciousness. Just like we as humans, we don't really recognize this, but we all share a consciousness, a human consciousness. So we like to see ourselves as being different, and we're all so unique and nuanced. But like at the end of the day, we all do share a consciousness, and I think even as like groups of people, we share consciousness and stuff like that. So it's really interesting. But these are a consciousness, and they love to interact with the human consciousness, um, because they do come from y'all. This is going to need to be multiple videos, because I can talk about so many different aspects. So I think I will do that. But these come directly from the earth, you all. I keep holding this one in particular. I think this is really like, I haven't cleansed this one yet, so I need to cleanse this one and then, welcome it into my home. But I'm already really feeling this one because I keep going to it. These come directly from the earth, and one of my favorite things to do here in DC is to go to the Natural History Museum, the Smithsonian, you all. I'm in love with the crystal, like the gems and minerals floor there, because they have so many different specimens and they talk about all types of things. They talk about the creation of the universe, and they take you from like asteroids and meteorites and comets, which fall upon the earth, to like earthquakes and volcanoes and all types of geologic activity. And then they talk about the different minerals that come from the earth, and what that environment is like deep within the earth's core. And they finally end with all the different mineral specimens, crystal specimens, the semi-precious stones, and finally the precious stones, including the Hope Diamond, you all. There's so much, like so many gifts that come from these, but these come from the earth. They're formed in different ways, like you have metamorphic, igneous, and all these other types of formation. But many are formed in the core and mantle of the earth, which is an extreme environment, you all. The degrees, I can't even tell you how hot it is, but like the degree of your oven is just like the surface layer. We think of the earth being this permanent, stagnant thing. We think of rocks as being so solid, but truthfully, we're all standing on this like hot, bubbling, freaking magma. Like we're floating on it, and we experience the earth as being solid and hot. But the earth actually is very like transformational. You can say that in a way, Tiffany. I wouldn't call it giving birth, but the earth is like a womb, like Mother Earth. So these do emerge from earth. So you could say it is, in a sense, like giving birth to it. Sometimes these surface, these travel to get to us. In that extreme environment, there's not only a ton of heat, but there's a ton of pressure. Like tons and tons of pressure. So when you talk about diamonds being created, it's that same idea, but with all the crystals. So what that does is it takes this material, it aligns it in such a pure way that this is a fractal. Like there are these things called crystal lattices. And what you see on the surface, how these are angled naturally, like this is like a hexagonal lattice. This is how it's it's aligned on an atomic level because being in that pressure environment with so much pressure and so much heat forces all of the atoms to align in very strict ways. And there are actually, I believe it's 7 different crystal structures or lattices that occur. And the lattice is so important to the crystal that you identify the crystal not necessarily by the minerals that it's composed of, but actually by the type of like crystal matrices or lattice and how it forms. Like that's the key thing that determines what a crystal is. So being in that environment, its shape is very pure, like on an atomic level. And then eventually they're pushed to the surface of the earth. And they travel y'all miles to get to us. Eventually, they're lodged, they're cooled because when it's in the center of the earth, it's like a hot material. And over time, they just are pushed to the surface and they cool and they develop this crystalline structure. And then we have these beautiful crystals. Y'all, why is that important? Because if you look in nature, there are things that are like beautiful, like flowers, for instance, are beautiful because they need to be to attract pollinators and other things to come help them reproduce. Y'all, crystals are just beautiful by their own nature, their own merit. You know, look at the design in this, look at the colors. They're all so unique. This is another one. This is a calcite. Each one is so unique, completely different. Selenite, citrine. Um, and they're just beautiful just because. So that's one of my favorite things about crystals. Yeah, that calcite is a great deal. That one came from Home Goods. Um, and then the other thing about them, you all, I was gonna tell you one other thing about crystals. They travel a long way to be with us. Um, Lost my train of thought, but it's all good. So, they're very pure. They're aligned. The crystal lattices. Um, Hopefully it'll come back to me, y'all. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, so they're important for that, you know. And think about an ancient person coming upon this beautiful rock. Like there's all kinds of rocks which are beautiful on their own merit, but like these are very special, you know, because of their appearance, the way they shine. You can imagine how it'd be like magical to cavemen. But oh, also anybody else that tells you to doubt the power of crystals, you know, you can remind them that, okay, you may not believe in crystals and what they can do energetically and spiritually, whatever, but I guarantee you the people that make your cell phones, that make your watches, that make your radios, that make your computers, they all know the power of crystals because they scientifically, yeah, that's right, Tiffany. Are used scientifically for many different things, you know, like, and that's something that's not really expressed, but all your cell phones do have crystal technology in them. Liquid crystals, you all, any type of liquid crystal display on a screen that uses crystals. So, you know, when people say, oh, I don't see, you know, I don't think crystals really do anything. It's like, okay, that's fine if you don't think that, but the people that make the products that you use know the power of crystals. They have special properties, you all. Oh, also, I was gonna say, crystals, you know, we think of men and other animals as being carbon-based organisms, but crystals are actually based with something very similar to carbon, but it's like the next level. It's called silicate. And it's believed that, you know, this is what mankind is moving towards with the next level of consciousness we're about to go in. We're about to become silicone based or silicate based and not just carbon based. It's the next level of consciousness. Right. All right. We're going to talk about that in a second. They are energetic tools. Okay. We're going to get to that, Tiffany. But they're silicate based, and so they represent like a next level of consciousness. And all right, well, all right. So they are energy tools, just like Tiffany was saying. That's how they work. Um, because they are so pure and they come directly from the earth and we come from the earth, they have a way of like transmitting energy and balancing energy. And this is like what it does, on a scientific level, because when you talk about crystal technology, they're what are called oscillators. So they have like a pulse. And that's what they're used for in crystal radios. I think they're using lasers and cell phones. And it's believed that they help transmit messages and stuff. So it's funny they're using cell phones and computers because that's like one of the primary reasons for them. But the way that they transmit energy and also light, you all, um, is why they're important for us. So when we receive these pure items from the earth, we are energetic beings. Um, we have all of the chakra centers, and we also have the multiple bodies and the light bodies and the connection to the divine. So it's believed that these pure tools can help us align our energies so that we can do certain things. And that's why we work with crystals. Just having them in our environment helps align our energies, and working with them through meditation, through sleeping with them, through all types of practices helps us to receive that energy. Also, these individuals, this consciousness does like to interact with us because just like we have a mission in life and a purpose to fulfill, they have a mission as well. And it's through interacting with us humans that we can help fulfill each other's missions. So when you do receive, and this goes back to a point that I made at the beginning, when you do receive crystals in your life, they want to work with you. They need you to fulfill their mission, and they want to help us. Um, so it's not good to just have a bunch of crystals and have them on a shelf. Like they really want to interact with us. They want to be in our energy field to help balance it out. They want to move around. They do need to be charged and cleansed because they are energetic tools. They pick up all kinds of energies. And the whole point of charging and cleansing, we'll get into this a little more later, is to restore the original frequency of this item because it can get rusty over time. If you think about it like a radio station, these all have their own frequency. And just like us as people, we have our own frequency. And when they experience things in life where they're introduced to different energies, they can get thrown off. And then the original frequency can be blurred or whatever. So by using different items for charging, and clearing and all that stuff, you can restore its original frequency and it'll be much more effective and much stronger again. Let me know what y'all think about all of this. Um, all right, going back to the thing I forgot that I was going to say. So there are seven crystal lattices, seven structures, and that's how these crystals are grouped together in kingdoms. And it's interesting because there's seven notes to a musical scale, there's seven colors to a rainbow. Like you see the seven coming up frequently in nature and mathematics and science and all of that stuff. Eight would be the full octave. So seven, and you can think of like a spectrum. Um, so there's like an octave or a spectrum of crystal lattices, which is really interesting. And if you read about, I won't go full into the story, but if you read about Pythagoras, y'all all know the Pythagorean theorem that we study in high school, geometry. Pythagoras was an interesting character in history, and I must say, y'all, I'm a proponent of Kemetic culture, or what you all call Egyptian. Um, and so, like, Pythagoras did not invent anything. He did not found anything. I always like to remind people that, like, he drew on wisdom that was from previous cultures. But Pythagoras is an interesting individual because he studied. his father was a jeweler and he was familiar with like crystal lattices and how crystals all have weak points. If you hit them at the right angle, they will chip and they will break away. That's because of the lattice structure and how pure they are. So he did a bunch of work around crystals and sacred geometry, which is what all of this really goes into and how that's important for spiritual development. So if you start studying crystals, you'll learn about crystal lattices and matrices and how that all feeds into sacred geometry. Anybody that knows about Metatron's cube is related to that. And then also, Plato discussed the platonic solids. So that deals directly with crystals. It was believed that each shape of the platonic solids related to a different element and had different qualities. So if y'all want to learn more about sacred geometry, go ahead and Google Plato, platonic solids, and I was gonna say Metatron's cube, and Pythagoras. All right, clearing and charging your crystals. Well, let's talk about receiving crystals. So when you get a crystal and you're like, this is a special tool that's come to you. It wants to do spiritual work. It wants to work with you. You need to have it in your energy field as much as possible. When you have a giant size crystal like this is great for just keeping in your home, like Tiffany said. It will work with you, and you should still work with it and have it in your energy field as much as possible. But this is going to do more work in the environment. There are different ways to work with crystals. I have a beautiful crystal candle holder here. This is from my personal collection, of course. This has been shaped, you all. Y'all will notice that crystals are either raw or they are shaped. Some are polished, like this. Some come raw, and some people believe there are different properties that come from that. Like they can do different things based upon that. But they will all benefit you. You'll find them shaped in different significant structures. Like this is a crystal skull. That's great for doing different things. You can get them in jewelry. So I have this ring here. And that's great for keeping the crystal on your body and in your energy field. Here's a crystal point that's been turned into a necklace. Some more jewelry. And when you find a really good crafter, say you have stones that you enjoy working with, have them craft it into jewelry that you can wear. And the great thing about this is you can combine the crystals and charge them with certain purposes like we're about to discuss. So this has a clear quartz point next to the citrine. Clear quartz amplifies the energy. You can get a wand for all my magicians out there. These wands assist you in your magical work. I have several of these. So you will receive them. The first thing you want to do is you want to cleanse your crystals, you want to clear them and then charge them, okay? What I've learned in my experience, you all, is because it did take a really long time for me to understand crystals. Some people have an innate, a natural ability to sense crystal energy. I did not have that. I'm sorry. Like, especially physically, some people can feel the energy physically and it'll even be overwhelming with them. Like me, I just did not have that. So, the point of having crystals is you want to work with them, you want to put them to work. The more you work with them, the more benefit you'll see. Like, if you sleep with them, you'll notice that your dreams get really, really vivid. Um, you'll notice that a lot of them, like lapis, you may gravitate towards a special stone. This is my stone, lapis lazuli, for many reasons. But you may notice that when you work with the stone, like for me, I didn't consider myself as sensitive when I started. I didn't realize that the crystal was working with me when it was, but looking back over my life and over the interim that I was working with the crystal, you can read the themes of what the crystals mean. And you'll see, oh yeah, like my intuition did develop while I had this in my life. I did become more aware of like the cosmos and get this cosmic awareness and consciousness. My communication was much better. I didn't voice, my ideas, my thoughts, my opinions, and my needs. So it's like, oh yeah, these things really do work with you, even if you're not aware on a conscious level, they do work. So like, um, first thing first, you want to clear and charge them. You can do that in many different ways. This is one thing that's not explained very well. You can use smoke. Instant smoke is great for a light cleansing. You can bury it in rice, brown rice. A lot of people say it works. I don't know why that works. You can bury them in the ground. Yo, these come from the earth. They like being in the earth, and they help kind of just like they charge you and work with your energy. I feel like the ground works with their energy. Thanks, April. Works with their energy. And this it helps kind of ground them and redistribute the energy that they're processing when they're working with you. So like if you have one, like there's one, I haven't done this yet, but there's one I want to put in the earth to sort of restore. I have a rose quartz which is kind of faded. And I feel like putting it in the ground for like a few months will really restore it. Like you can nurse some back to health because they're missing like the right moisture levels or like some mineral properties have sort of drained from them. So that's what I want to do that with. But the big one, you all, sounds and vibration. These are energetic tools. They work with your vibration. Using sound is very effective at clearing the crystal and getting it back to its original frequency. Because what happens is this large frequency or force kind of rattles it back into its primary frequency. So get Tibetan singing bowl is great. And just use your intuition for how long you want to do it. This, when you use it, you'll know, like hearing it on the mic is one thing. Hearing it over the video, but when you actually experience this, it permeates your whole being. So you can imagine doing that for the crystals. Um, and it is great for clearing them, you all, and restoring them. Oh, washing them in salt water. Y'all, with the salt, be careful and the water. I feel like salt is not as necessary as people make it seem. Once again, bad information. Like, you don't want to soak these too long in salt. You want to just dip them, let them sit for like a few minutes. But salt can, these crystals fade if you leave them out in the sun. Like, that's another way of charging and clearing them. If you leave them in the sun, it will fade the colors of many of them. So I'm very cautious when I do that. Very rarely do I do it in midday sun. If I do, but just a few minutes. If you put them out in the sunlight, do it in early morning, like sunrise or sunset, when it's that reddish color, because then it's not harmful and it's great for charging your crystals. But be cautious with light because it will fade them. Um, if you do wash them in salt water, do a quick dip, soak them for a few minutes. Then I rinse them off with non-salt water, like, and then dry them immediately to protect them. But that's a great way to cleanse them. When you do the sound alchemy, you're going to restore the frequency really well. I say the salt water and stuff kind of just gets rid of energies that they picked up. And then, y'all, tuning forks. I bought this kit off of Amazon. I love this thing because when I clear and charge a bunch of crystals, I just use a tuning fork and I have a whole set. Once again, I mentioned, there's an octave or a whole spectrum of crystal matrices. Y'all, this is a full octave of tuning forks. So I just use my intuition when I'm dealing with the crystal. Pick one up, I use my intuition, get the appropriate tuning fork. And then use that to clear. This is great because it directs the energy. Like the Tibetan singing bowl is like the energy goes in all directions. This focuses it. So you can point it directly at the crystal. And then if you listen, I don't know if y'all can hear this, but there's actually two tones. There's an overtone And there's the regular tone. So it's just kind of fascinating. It's a great tool to use. And then the mallet that you use to strike it has two sides. It has a hard side and it has a padded side. So depending on which one you hit it with, like either the overtone or the regular tone will play. Sound you all is so important. When we talk about spiritual things, we're talking about energies, frequencies, and that all has a real scientific component to it. Um, Once you have welcomed your crystal in your home, you've cleared it of any previous intentions or programs that set into it. You've removed any negative energies. Then you can go on ahead and place your own intention for the crystal. And y'all, as I was saying before, put these to work. That's how you're really going to be able to experience them. Like, it's great to just have these things, but like, have a purpose for it. These things come to our lives because they want to work with us. So, like, this crystal right here, this is what I use for prosperity. Citrine is great for prosperity. It works with the solar plexus. It's also great for your confidence in your personal will. So this is in my money area of my house, and I work with this for prosperity. If I'm ever sitting around the house and I'm not going anywhere, I just put this on because I want this in my energy field to make sure that I receive prosperity. Sometimes I wear it out every now and then. It's a big gaudy piece of jewelry, so I don't wear it out a lot. When I do, I get lots of like attention and compliments. People really like it, so I think I will start wearing it more. But like just have it in your energy field, and then you got the intention that you programmed into it. So that's going to help it come to life. If it's just sitting on a shelf collecting dust, it's not going to be able to do much for you. Um, One of my latest projects is I've paired crystals from my collection with different herbs that I'm working with. And I have them working together, which is great because they're correspondents and they share a similar energy. Each one's carefully selected. So I have them sort of like feeding off of each other. So when I do different ceremonies or rituals, those herbs are ready to go to put into my ritual. Also, those crystals, if I choose to use them, they're ready to go because they've sort of been like just influencing each other and building their energy, with the intention that I program them with. Also, y'all, if y'all do spirit communication and spirit work, these are great vessels for housing those energies. They're great means of communication as well. There's a reason why people had crystal balls and did scrying throughout history because they're great portals. Tiffany's favorite word. Um, so that's what I have with my herb project. I've actually called different entities into each one of them to guard over them and to build that energy. So put them to work, you all. Sleep with them. Like I said, when you sleep, you will feel your dreams just get really bizarre. And then the big obstacle for me, you all, was dealing with them like they are a consciousness. Like, really, when you get to a certain point where you're like, when you pass a barrier, like for me, I had a lot of resistance, which I'm just now realizing, 3 years into my journey, or I would say like 2.5 years. Talk to them. It's okay. Even if you don't believe they're real or whatever, it's a great way to just get the energy flowing between them. Allow them to speak to you. And when you do get an idea or you do feel them communicating with you, it's not going to be like, hey girl, what's up? How are you doing? It may not necessarily be like that type of conversation, but oh yeah, Tiffany, I got to show you. That's one of my passions lately. Um, when when you do receive insight or whatever from the crystal, acknowledge that, validate, because that's going to just open up that channel some more. And like I said, shamans knew that like everything had a spirit, and when you're communicating with this crystal, you're like opening up that channel for the spirit. And these things will instruct you with like how they want to be used, what they want to do, different ideas and recommendations. So open up that channel because And honestly, communicating with the crystals is the same way you communicate with herbs and plants for plant medicine. And it's the same way you communicate with spirits, deities, and other entities. So by practicing with the crystal, you will be able to do all those things. So, like, get over your personal beliefs and ideas about how things are. A lot of dealing with things of a spiritual nature is removing logic. Like, you must be willing to remove logic and just go with your intuition, with your feeling. That's the way this operates, the right brain, not the left brain. So you'd be better off when doing all of these spiritual practices, and using the spiritual tools by just going with it and experiencing it first, and then you have a judgment about it and how it all works. Okay. Me, I'm more of a conceptual person, so I'm like, I want to know the idea or the concept first and be able to work within that context to appreciate something, but you really got to do it the opposite way. Yeah, Tiffany. And like to get more specific with it, when you have a crystal and you do your meditation, these are great for enhancing your meditation as well. Any type of other state that you go into. Picture the guide, picture the spirit of the crystal, and not just this individual, but the spirit of lapis lazuli. Okay, cool, Tiffany. We're about to end. Only going to keep this at an hour. Thank you for watching. Um, Envision going into the crystal, like this is a whole land. Go into the land of lapis lazuli. Sit down and invite the spirit to connect with you and see what would that spirit look like. Oh, John, welcome. I didn't even see you. Um, what would that look like? How do they interact with you? Are they lively? Are they subdued? Are they warm? Are they cold? Are they wise? Are they like young and naive? Like, develop a persona, and as you interact with that, you're going to get the information. John, I'm so glad you made it. Oh, thank you. Y'all, like, this is really kind of impromptu. And when I do this discussion again, I'm going to have an outline because there's a lot of information that I really want to share about crystals. And yeah. And I really want to do it in a structured way. I'm realizing now that this is kind of this is spontaneous, which is cool, but like I will have an outline thing and we'll do this discussion again. But I'm just giving you some really good tips from my experience that hopefully you can use. That's the way to connect with the crystal, like through your meditation and through visualization, and which is huge, you all. So like take the time to connect with them on that level. And y'all journal. And this is something I have to constantly remind myself. Document everything, write your experiences, work with one crystal hardcore for a week or 2 weeks or a month, and journal your experiences because these things, like I said before, they are working with you, but you may not recognize it on a conscious level. It's through your reflection, looking back, that you will see that they've been working with you the whole time. Y'all, place these on your body, place these on your chakra centers. They're really going to work directly with the energy that way. And one thing I do is prepare your body to receive it. So don't just place it on there and just lay down. Like, draw the energy of the crystal into that chakra point. Lapis is good for communication or your third eye. Draw the energy into your body and process it all throughout to really awaken that energy. Um, That's a great question, John. You can get crystals from many places. I was mentioned earlier that Marshalls, Home Goods, Ross are actually great places right now to get crystals at a really good value. I got this one yesterday for $10 at Marshalls. You can get them online. There's a lot of ideas around selecting crystals that you should actually choose the one that chooses you. So like if you're at a store in person, you can feel drawn towards the crystal. I feel like you can be drawn online too. But you can buy them online. I like buying them in person because you can talk with the person who's vending them and see like where they collect them from, how much do they know about them, what regard do they have for them, because these are consciousness. We want to make sure that we're getting them responsibly. Angela, it's okay. Thank you for joining. I didn't know you were here. Please catch the replay. I'm so glad you joined us. Um, Make sure they collect them responsibly. Like you'll learn different things. Like y'all, lapis is one of my favorite stones. It's very important that you find out where the lapis is sourced from because originally, traditionally, it's from Afghanistan, and it's one of their primary exports now. Y'all know there's a lot of like terrorism going on, and the people who are terrorists have picked up on the fact that this is a very valuable export, and so they use this to fund their terrorism. So you should really try to get lapis from Pakistan or other places because I just personally don't want to fund terrorists wreaking havoc. So it's good to know a little about the crystals and where they come from and make sure like this is from the earth. I want to make sure it's like sourced responsibly. Like people aren't just, destroying environments getting to this stuff. Um, so yeah, work with it in dreams, meditation, put them in your home. A lot of crystals are great for removing electromagnetic frequencies um, from your wireless technology. So, like, if you have like a router in your home, if you use your cell phone a lot, crystals are great for balancing out that energy. And you all, that's not just like an airy fairy, like, oh, this happened. Like, this is something that I've experienced personally. Like there's this product that and I mentioned John, I didn't mention wellness fairs or expos. Like you can go to crystal shows, mineral shows, and they have all of these things normally at really good prices. If you travel to places like Sedona, Arizona, in big metaphysical spots, you can find them like all over the place. So you can source them from many different places. A lot of people will get them to you. Um, but I was at this wellness expo a while ago. Oh, really, John? That's awesome. Let us know. Which one is it? They do a huge show, and I believe it's Phoenix or Santa Fe every year. It's in New Mexico, Santa Fe or Tucson. They have a huge show. It's like known all throughout the country. Um, but yeah, they make this product where you put it on, it removes electromagnetic frequencies. Y'all, they do this test on you where, oh yeah, you're not far. Yeah, it may be in Reno. If it's not in Reno, it's in one of those areas nearby. But Reno probably has a huge show of their own. Um, so they put this product on you, and they do this test where they like knock you off balance. And as soon as you put on these grounding crystals, it's like black tourmaline, shungite, and one other thing in the product, you instantly are strengthened. I've never seen anything like that before. Like such a quick immediate like effective response. Like they really do like balance you out and prevent some of the weakening that occurs from EMFs. So that's a really cool, interesting thing that you can Google. Um, so y'all, that's it for now. Thank you for listening. And I'm going to next time we have this discussion, I'm going to outline some very specific things. I could talk about crystals for days because they really are like a huge, powerful tool. They're very misunderstood. I've learned a lot of things from my personal approach. I didn't even get to talk about my like one of my most important crystals, which is moldavite, and that whole experience. So we'll do that the next time, you all. This one is so important. It's so like I mentioned, I don't really feel crystal. I didn't really feel crystal energy right away. This is the first crystal quotations because it's not a crystal, it's a tektite, which is a different thing. This is the first stone that I worked with where I felt immediately, I felt it working with me. So we'll talk about moldavite the next time. I hope y'all enjoyed this discussion. If anybody would like a reading, I will take one volunteer to do a quick reading and then we're going to go because we're at 59 minutes. Who would like a reading? I'm going to give it a minute, and if nobody wants a reading, we will conclude. Thank you all so much for watching. Angela, okay, great. Oh, John said it first. I'm going to have to go with John, Angela. I'll try to get you the next time. By the way, you all, we did the Reiki share last night. Tiffany sent out the energy. I had an incredible day yesterday. I did not even discuss that. I probably won't because I had some secret stuff happen with like a deity. So at the right time, I'll reveal what happened. But I think it may be a result of that beautiful Reiki energy that went out. And our services are available in the Pretty Black Magic group if you're a member. Tiffany Wamsley has her oil, which she's sharing. I can't wait to get that. I'm offering my tarot services. Tiffany Haley has her beautiful t-shirts and a few other products available, including crystals, which is what we're talking about. So check that out. All right, John, we're going to do a general reading really, really briefly. I'm shuffling right now. Now I'm cutting the deck. John, thank you so much for showing up. I have not gotten a chance to really interact with you in the group yet. And you've been very active lately, so thanks for that. Y'all, I'm gonna be doing these videos here very regularly, and I'm so glad y'all decided to join. I hope you join the next time, which will probably be like Monday. But I will post in the groups for y'all to join me. I love having y'all here to interact with me and stuff and learning from you all. I'm still debating if I want to do just YouTube or if I'll do Facebook Lives because I really enjoy like pulling people on camera and interacting with you all. So just keep an eye out for that. All right, John, the path you're on right now, you have a lot of extra resources, be it time, money, or whatever. You have like a surplus. And right now you're deciding like how you're going to distribute that because there are people who like who are like tapping you on the shoulder. They want to get some of that. But not everybody's worthy. So you really have to debate like who are you going to spend your extra resources with? You know, who's worthy of your time? Who's worthy of you, sharing money with or spending money on? Not everybody is. So you have to sort of determine that. What helps you is that I'm sorry, where you've been is you needed to get away from everything to really calm down, get centered, and focus on your life, where you are and where you're trying to move towards. But you've not been able to pause. Life has not allowed you to do that. And you just really need that. You need to get in nature. You need to be away. You need to slow down and then just heal. Because you just gotten over like some major activities or events and you're moving into a new phase. Thanks. You're moving into a new phase in life. In order to get ready for that next phase, you need to calm down, get in nature. Where you're headed is that you're about to, you're about to deal with some, like a lot of people that may not have the best intentions for you, people that are trying to control you, or like they may have a tendency to do that. Like there are people who are maybe fun to interact with. You know, y'all go out together, you have a good time, you experience life, but it can like go bad very quickly because it's like it can be unbalanced. You know, like it's great to live it up every now and then, but it can get like, that's how people develop addictions or like they get in bad relationships or things like when it's in an unbalanced way and like you're just living for the moment. So be careful. It's good to get out, experience life. Good food, good wine, partying, enjoying like time with others and having fun, but like just make sure it doesn't end up having like bad side effects. What helps you is that you are willing to fight for what you believe in. You know who you are, what you're about, and anything that opposes that, you're like, nah, I don't have time for that. Like anybody that tries to sway you or tell you otherwise, you're like, no, that's not gonna work. What hurts you is that I feel like you have a strong calling, and I don't know why that would hurt you, but you have a strong calling, and you really need to just get in alignment with it. I mean, I don't know if it's pulling you or if it's hurting you because it's hurting other areas of your life, but you know what that is, and you need to do it. It sounds like you've agreed to do it, and I feel like you're an artist or something. I feel like you have a lot of vivid dreams and ideas about how you should like produce that artwork. And I would just say like don't just dream, don't just think about it, like get to work. Do it, start producing. But you feel a really strong calling and it's to do something great. It's not just like, oh, I want to like make artwork. It's like, no, I'm going to like really revolutionize something through my artwork. So definitely start producing, get to work, don't delay. It's going to be for the people. It's going to be greater than you. It's not just for you. It's like for everybody. One thing to remember is that you need to always like be balanced. You're on this like really like transformational journey and you're evolving. And the way to do that, like to go through that is to not get um too pulled to either side. Don't get too extreme in anything. Like a lot of these themes are coming up with you. Like be balanced. Take time to restore, to rest, to heal, eat good food, do things that are holistic, and just be balanced in all your endeavors and allow this process to unfold for you. Don't try to rush down this path and this journey. Just like just go at a nice even keel steadily on your path and then allow things to be done for you. Like you have higher forces working for you and sending you what you need at certain times. And I've seen that in several of the cards. Allow that guiding force, whether it be a spirit guide, angel, ancestor, God, fate, whatever. Like allow that to do what it needs to do for you, and you just receive that. Don't go too far to any extreme trying to make stuff happen because it's going to happen over time. It's an evolution. Finally, what you will become is you're gonna like be taking up a lot of responsibilities, like so many different things. You're going to be getting to work, rolling up your sleeves, handling your business. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be taxing, but it's going to be very positive. And eventually, you will release some of those responsibilities, but for the time being, you're going to like be handling a lot of things. So, thank you all for watching, John. I hope that all helped you. Made sense. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Have a great day.